Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Chew. It's Tuesday the 18th of June, and as you can see this week, I'm on my own. Roy Johnson is off to Baltimore, Sandler HQ, where he's getting some reinforcement training to underpin all that great sales knowledge that he's already got.
Hello.
Hello, Roy. You're meant to be at 30,000 feet.
Am I?
Yeah, Baltimore, remember?
I better go then.
Yeah. You think?
Just going to leave this with you. There we go. Just so you don't forget.
Great. Thanks. And with that, off he goes. And off he goes. So, on this week's Tuesday Chew, we've got some news, we've got some upcoming events, we've got the How to Succeed podcast, we have got some questions that people have asked, we have got lessons learned, we've got some free stuff, we've always got some free stuff, we've also got a book, because we've always got a book as well, and finally we've got the ever popular Talking Pants section. So without further ado, on to the news. Well, the first bit of news really is that we ran our 2-hour masterclass last week. Thank you very much to everybody who came. Hope you enjoyed it. Had some fantastic feedback from that. That was at the Limedale Business Centre, which then leads me neatly on to the upcoming events. We're running a 2-day foundations bootcamp, which tells you all the basics of how to run the Sandler system and to get some really effective ways of breaking the rules and selling an awful lot more. And that's a 2-day boot camp which is taking place on the 16th and 17th of July. I put a link to the Eventbrite page which is down below, as we always say, so please do have a look at that and to get a few more details. Hashtag How to Succeed podcast. This is something that comes from Sandler's central database of phenomenal information, and the latest one is about driving client success. I can strongly recommend it to you. It's not a difficult listen, but some really useful information that's in there. Next time, the question. We've got a question, and it's a management question. This one, the reason why I've chosen this one is because it kind of resonated with me, because from my background, I guess I kind of used to fall into this trap a little bit of trying to be Superman a little bit and helping people rather than actually helping people to help themselves. And it's a common mistake. So when you become a doer rather than a manager, you're not actually helping people to or empowering them to be effective. So people would come into my office and they would say something like, can you help me? Have you got a minute? Can you just? And the thing I suppose that the question is really asking is, how do we get past that? How do we stop people constantly doing that to you? Well, the only way you can do it really is by saying to them, why don't we just look at a few solutions? If you go away, come back to me with 3 different solutions, we'll talk them through, and then you can tell me which one you think is going to be most effective. By the time you actually get people to think for themselves, 9 times out of 10 they don't even come back to you, because they work out for themselves what is right. Providing you've empowered them to do the right thing and you've given them the protection that if they do make a mistake, they know that they're not going to actually get a complete roasting for it. So that's the little tip for that. Lessons learned. Yeah. My lesson learned is just when you think you've got rid of him, he comes back. He's going to be back next week, everybody. Yes, that's right. He will be back for the 25th of June. So you can look forward to that. I don't know if that's the right phrase. Anyway, so we have some free stuff. We always like to give away a bit of free stuff here at Sandler. So if you look in the links down below, you will see that there is the link to a free white paper. That free white paper is for the 3 biggest sales mistakes that you should never make. It's an extremely useful little paper, and I commend it to you. It's free. What can I say? Something that isn't free but is certainly well worth a read or a listen if you decide to go onto audible.com and get the audiobook. I've got the audiobook as well, so you can tell from this one how heavily annotated it is. It's got all my little kind of post-it bookmark things in it. This is an extremely useful book. This is kind of, I suppose this is the introduction to the whole of the basic Sandler selling system, the 7 steps to basically doing things differently, a fair and equitable, honest and ethical way of selling stuff that doesn't involve any hard sell whatsoever. This, if you haven't read it, I commend it to you. Again, it is an extremely easy read, as most of these books are, and it is full of absolute gems of wisdom. It was written by David Sandler himself, who started the Sandler system, but this updated version has got not only a foreword by Dave Mattson, who's the CEO of Sandler today, but it was also a number of different kind of points that he's pulled out, which he highlights, most of which I seem to have put a little tab against. So, yeah, well worth a read. And finally, the Talking Pants section. I'm a big movie fan. Glengarry Glen Ross, you may well have seen it. Fantastic film. You've got to ask for the order. You've got to ask for the order. I mean, you might have heard this. Always be closing. That's kind of a way of working that really, it goes to the old style of sales, the hard sell type of sales. And what we found by using the Sandler system is that you can take your clients on a little bit of a discovery journey where they can find out for themselves that your solution will solve their pains. And if it won't, that's fine. You're able to part company as friends, as equals, and they can find out for themselves. You never have to ask for the order. They will ask you, because all you have to do is say to them, what would you like me to do now? And then typically they will ask you for the order. So, always be closing, always ask for the order. What can I say? I've been given the power of this gun. And you know what that is? It's Talking Pants. Oh yes. So that's it for this week's Tuesday Chew. Tune in again next Tuesday when we will be joined by Mr. Roy Johnson, fresh back from Baltimore. He flew back specially to do that. That's the power of wind.